righty, let's get it going here on a Tuesday with Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light in association with our good friends at Yellowhammer News and yellowhammernews.com. I am here in Montgomery, Barry down there in Troy with what looks like some type of Troy polo shirt that I haven't seen before. White with the red accents on the collar. Man, they got a lot of good-looking gear down there.
Yeah, I can. I normally, this is just an Adidas thing right here. It's not technically the Cardinal, but I wear this sometime on stuff. Believe me, I could probably go 2 months, maybe 3, and wear a different Troy thing on the show and never wear the same thing twice. Believe me, I've got tons of gear, but it's the off season for Troy. But the next big thing on the schedule, Trojan Tour. There's a Trojan Tour in Enterprise on Thursday. I'll be at there's a Trojan Tour on Friday in association with the Biscuits game Friday evening. Jared Parker is going to be there. Brent Jones, Scott Cross, Skylar Mead, Chanda Rigby, all those. So that's kind of the next thing for me. But there's plenty of other stuff out there to talk about on the program today, and we're gonna get some perspective today. I've got opinions on the House settlement. John's got opinions on the House settlement, where it is, but more importantly, where it's going to go.
Yeah,
perspective from Bryan Matthews, auburnsports.com, Travis Reier on YouTube a little bit later on in the program today.
Oh yeah, no doubt, our normal Tuesday guest. Looking forward to that. Bryan Matthews, auburnsports.com, Travis Reier on YouTube. Glad you mentioned the House settlement. I certainly want to get into that a little bit more today as well. I've heard some regional and national discussion about it. Particularly kind of hits a little close to home, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But I'm telling you something, Barry, that hits close to home. Only one musing a week until football season. No more coffee with Phillip till preseason camp starts because he's going on a trip to Bahama. I thought it was Bahamas, but anyway.
He's probably heard of that because he maybe listened to that Beach Boys song about Aruba, Jamaica.
Yeah. Aren't SEC Media Days the second week of July? He's going to be in the Bahamas instead?
He's bound to be back there. I mean, he can sleep I was about to say he can sleep in the Bahamas, but he can sleep at the SEC Media Days too. We've seen him at it. Phillip, this is our morning schedule, and this is what I try to do. We're of course we're on the air at 7:00 sharp Central Time. Got to be teeth brushed, scrubbed up, whole deal. I like to be in position, and I know John does too, by at least 10 minutes until 7:00. Camera working, we've got everything framed up just right, and all that, making sure my microphone works and all that at about 10 till, because Gurn Jr. starts the countdown at 5 till.
Correct.
So John and I have about 5 minutes to trade notes. Hey, did you hear about this? Or testing 1, 2, 3, you got me, and all that kind of stuff. So we got 5 minutes. In that 5 minutes, maybe a word or two. Good morning. Hey, how was so-and-so? And, just friendly kind of stuff. And there's always something in there from John. All right, hang on, Phillip. Okay, what's Phillip? Geez, I'm not reading this. I'm not. To hear John talk about it, he doesn't ever read Phillip. Phillip is Phillip Marshall. He is a senior college football writer for AuburnUndercover.com. I like him fine.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. But I like him fine. John has a love-hate relationship. He loves Phillip, but he hates that he loves Phillip. And I'm telling you, John wants to do his research on Auburn. Boom, that's the first thing he does.
Oh, yeah.
What is truly in the hearts and minds of the Aubs that I can comment on today? Well, there's only one place to find out, and that's Phillip.
That's the
this
one.
Morning, before we get started, of course, I'm looking at it because I'm trying to figure out what John's going to have to say about Phillip. And I look at it and I see, Phillip's talking about, was Coastal Carolina really better than Auburn?
See, that's what I'm paying my $9.95 a month for. That's what I want to read.
Stuff like that, which is funny to me. It just is. Stuff like that.
Me too.
John's reading it, and I'm looking, And I'm thinking every morning I look at the same thing. It's like that scene from Good Will Hunting where Ben Affleck says, you know what the best part of my day is if I knock on your door and you're not there, that you've gone off to MIT or Harvard or something like that and everything. That's one of the best parts of my day. If this ever happens, I swear to gosh, we're going to have a wide angle lens because I'm going to be smiling the whole show. One of these days, if Philip in one of his musings says, I've been hearing about John Longshore in Montgomery dogging me about this and dogging me about
dogging
anything because
praising.
They tell me that John Longshore has sold more subscriptions to Auburn Undercover and brought more readers to my doorstep than any other entity out there, which is true. But I tell you what, he can stick it where the sun don't shine. John, I'm a big boy over here. Why don't you come over here and say, if I ever see one of those in there, I mean, he talks about everything else, the Live Tour and girls softball and all that kind of stuff. One of these days, I'm ready for somebody to say, hey, Philip, John's been kind of, I mean, he loves you. He talks about you more than anybody does, but he's been kind of getting on you lately about your coverage of Bryan.
I would say that's constructive criticism. And in this business, you got to have some thick skin. I have praised Philip for his work since I was in junior high school at Cloverdale over there on Fairview Avenue, and used to read his column in the Montgomery Advertiser or Alabama Journal, whatever paper it was he wrote for here in town. And have been following him ever since. Maybe I've been critical at times, praiseworthy more than that, I would believe. He did mention something years and years ago. Actually, it was somebody else that was on the show that said it, but I believe he was blaming it on me. Something either with Freddie Wagan or Shane Wasden, one of those two.
Something but about actually, Danny Sheridan, if I remember.
Russell said that, but he blamed it on me. But anyway, it's okay. We're all big boys here. Well, a lot of questions, questions to himself today, some answers. I'll let you read it, but here, as I mentioned, I got all the way to the bottom, and it's like, boom, bam, coffee shop closed for the summer.
Coffee with Philip, which is not the only thing he writes, but it's one of the things he writes, and one of the things that John obsesses over. Coffee with Philip will return around the time preseason football practice begins. Meanwhile, I will still offer my musings at least once a week, except when I am loafing in the Bahamas in the second week of July.
Yeah.
John, we all know what the second week of July is. It's the second week of July almost every year.
Yeah, it's media days.
He's not going to be.
Is the cruise ship coming back into Fort Lauderdale or wherever he's getting on it? And I guess he's just going to fly out to Atlanta from there.
Yeah, I don't know. But we like to see Philip there.
Yeah.
John's, John, whenever he sees Philip over there, and John always asks me, he says, hey, should I nudge him? I mean, is he okay? Can I put a mirror in front of his mouth? You think, stuff like that. So one of these, here's today. And this is what I love. I mean, I do like reading this. I don't always agree with him. As a matter of fact, I don't agree with him very much. But this is Philip's Tuesday morning musings. And again, his favorite writing technique is to ask himself questions.
Oh, yeah.
And the subhead here is SEC baseball teams earned their seeds. And I quote, was Coastal Carolina's Saturday starting pitcher better than Auburn's starting pitchers? Yes. Did Coastal Carolina deserve to win the Auburn Super Regional? It did.
Oh.
Does that mean Coastal Carolina is simply better than Auburn?
Yeah, it does.
No. Hang on. Don't be jumping in.
Oh, sorry.
Does that mean Coastal Carolina is simply better than Auburn? No. Postseason baseball just doesn't work that way. The number 1, number 2, number 4, number 5, number 7 seeds are gone. Number 1, number 2, and number 7 didn't even make the Super Regionals.
So the football national championship, Ohio State beat
Notre Dame.
Does that mean that Ohio State's not better than Notre Dame? I think it does. Florida won the national championship in basketball. Forgot who they beat. Duke, maybe, I guess.
Yeah, they beat
Um,
Auburn in the
yeah.
semifinals.
So I think they're better than them. And yes, Philip,
Well, here's the
right
point,
now,
John.
today, Coastal Carolina is better than Auburn. Now, what happened
This
back in February? I mean, I mentioned, Alabama beat them 9-2. That doesn't matter. What right now, Coastal is
I'm telling you,
better.
Gurn Jr., this is my thought on the whole thing. Gurn Jr., tomorrow's episode, since we titled these, and this is number 200, since
How
we
about that?
titled these
Number
song titles
200 today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you
200.
for that on the chat.
Yeah, that is awesome. Tomorrow ought to be, what is it, the Stephen Stills song, Whatever Gets You Through the Night? Oh, no, that was John Lennon. That was John Lennon.
That was
Stephen
John
Stills
Lennon.
sang Love the One You're With. But whatever, was Coastal Carolina, does that mean Coastal Carolina is simply better than Auburn? No. Philip, who gives a crap? They beat them. I mean, we can go through all of this esoteric, well, in a 7-game series, or if they played 20 times, Auburn would win 12, or who cares? They had 18, well, more than 18 innings of baseball to be played at Auburn's home park. And believe me, I'm predisposed towards Auburn baseball. I was associated with it for a long time. But in 18 plus innings of baseball at Auburn's home park, Coastal Carolina won both games. If you want to sit there and tell your readers, they weren't really better than Auburn. They were, I don't care if they won 2 games 14-13 and they got out hit by 10 in both games. They won the games.
Let me think. It's like me saying, Barry, Utah really wasn't the better team that night in the Sugar Bowl. I mean, come on. Right. They really weren't.
Yeah.
Maybe a fumble here and a missed assignment there, but all in all, Utah wasn't better than Alabama. Who we fooling here?
I get human nature. I really do. Well, I didn't really like her anyway. She was not, we probably, I don't know. She's probably more trouble than she's worth. There's other fish in the sea,
That's right.
Whatever makes you feel better. I'm not saying that Coastal Carolina isn't better than Auburn. I don't know if they played 50 games, who would win the most? I don't know. I have seen Coastal Carolina, and they are all that. I've seen Auburn, and they're pretty doggone good. But you know what? Coastal Carolina is playing in the College World Series, and Auburn's
they are.
not. Does the other stuff even matter? That's the kind of stuff from Philip that drives me nuts.
See, it's the potpourri of information. It's a little bit of everything. I mean, I love it. I mean, you never know what's coming next. I mean, it could be a sport, it could be non-sports, mainly sports, but sometimes he ventures off. And there again, been following him since I was in junior high school. It's amazing. And if the guy wants to take a cruise to the Bahamas, he deserves it. It's well deserved. Now, I'm not a cruise guy. I can tell you, I have no interest. Done it once, been there, done that. Don't want to do it again.
Yeah. We'll spend the next 2 minutes before we go to break. Me and John. I mean, you guys have known us for a long time. You newbies, you kind of got the gist of what we stand for, what we believe in, and how we approach things. We don't, there have been times when we've had to toot our own horn back in our old positions, because if we didn't toot it, who would? But we're in it for the work and for the camaraderie and for the interaction. We love our guests and the conversation and the presentation of new ideas. We're not in it to self-gloss or anything like that. But John, this is 200 shows.
It's 200. That's
200
correct.
of them, and I got to tell you, and who knows what may happen? A meteor may hit the world or whatever. But I feel pretty good about it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, first 200 shows. We've had some great things. We've had pretty doggone good content. It's been unique. It's not really like any of the other shows that you'll see out there. And believe me, there are a lot. But whenever John first broached a subject with me and all that, I thought, Well, let's see. I like this setup. Of course, John and I are familiar with each other more than probably any other talk show host that have ever been out there, and we've worked together, done good work together. I like the format. I like the idea of being on camera. I know we've got a lot of faithful clients, and the reason why they're faithful is because we've delivered results to them, and they'll stick with us. I like and the first 200 shows, John, I got to tell you, without self-gloss, it's been even better than I thought it was going
Well,
to.
it really has. Started in mid-August of 2024, and here we are 200 in. So, yeah, very excited as well. Love the format. Really love the work Gurn Jr. does for us behind the scenes. Unfortunately, our viewers and listeners don't get to see it here, Gurn, very often, but he's very important to make the show a success, and really appreciate him. Several other people behind the scenes as well. And very excited about it. Our association with Yellowhammer News, very happy and proud to be associated with those great people. And of course, so many other ways you can find us. It's just easier than just that one location. Now we're in many, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, Spotify, Yellowhammer News, however you listen to your podcast, however you view your streaming options, we have got them covered there for you as well. So definitely very happy about being at episode 200 and looking forward to many, many, many more. And I appreciate everybody on the River Region Straw chat line as well talking about it. Yeah, I can see that the Braves did win last night. More on that in a minute. It's amazing how they've come out of the woodwork and with one win. But hey, we'll get into that in a minute. And when we come back, Barry, I've heard some national and regional guys and gals talking about the House settlement, how they think it could play out, how it will affect certain schools and conferences. Thought we'd touch on that a little bit before Bryan Matthews joins us at the bottom of the hour.
Glad you're along with us. All these chats, pretty good stuff so far, fellas. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Spring into savings at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, America's best-selling truck, the F-150. You can get every new 2024 at 2.9% APR for 72 months. How about an F-150 Lightning up to $15,000 off plus 0% for 75 months? The ever-popular Ford Bronco Sport as low as $25,990. The Ford Explorer, it started the SUV craze. An all-wheel drive with leather as low as $33,990. That's up to $8,000 off. $15,000 off Ford Expeditions. And what about the Ford Mustang? Starting as low as $29,990. And the all-new Ford Mavericks starting as low as $23,990 and no payment for 90 days. And don't forget about Stivers Ford's mobile service. Get serviced at your home or work anywhere near the River Region. It's all at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where price sells cars.
On the basketball court, the soccer pitch, or even the golf course, your crew brings their best not just for the win, but for that post-game celebration. When victory tastes like Michelob Ultra, it's worth every drop of sweat. And if you don't win, you'll still get the beer. It's just on you. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. They're licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946. All right, about 19 minutes past the hour here on this Tuesday, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. So the House settlement came down late last week on Friday. There's been a lot of discussion about it, what will happen from this point forward. We certainly talked about that yesterday. But I also heard a lot of sports media members around the country talking about it yesterday. Colin talked about it while I was having lunch yesterday, so I perked up about that a little bit. Others as well. But one thing, and I thought about this, and we've discussed it before. You touched on it yesterday a little bit about top players at Group of 5 schools.
Yes.
How are they going to keep them? Are Power 5 schools going to go poach them? Are they going to get in touch with them and say, you need to come play here, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Heard some people talk about that as well yesterday. Right. Same thing we had. They must have been listening to the show.
Of course.
But one thing that I heard from several people is, how are these Group of 5 schools going to compete? Appalachian State was a school that they used as an example. Obviously a Sunbelt school.
Yes.
And one of them basically said in 5 years they won't be able to. And I kind of went, whoa, what are we talking about here? Just the Power 5 separating themselves even more financially, television packages, the whole deal.
Right.
The money that will have to be spent to compete seemed to be the main root of it. The money is going to be the big difference between the Power 5 and the Group of 5. And as I listened to these people talk about it, I thought, what is the future of the Sun Belt or the Mountain West or the AAC in 5 years?
The cold hard facts are that the money was already way different anyway. I mean, Texas is going to outspend Troy by a bunch, 10 times, 15 times more than Troy will. The money is already way skewed anyway, but at least this caps a lot of the money. Again, the two sources of pay that student athletes will get will be directly from the school, and that's capped at $20.5 million. And just about every D1 school is going to opt in on that. Everybody's going to do that. Not everybody's going to get $20.5 million. Some schools will spend a lot less because that's what they can afford. But nobody can spend more than $20.5 million. The other avenue of revenue is NIL. And there is a setup called the College Sports Commission, which is not a member of the NCAA. It's totally separate from the NCAA. They'll enforce the revenue sharing rules. They'll make sure that nobody's paying more than $20.5 million. Well, there's a clearinghouse run by Deloitte that's called NIL Go that will review the contracts between the athletes and the third parties, the brands, the companies, and all that kind of stuff. And that can be as much as you want. The questions are, there's going to be limits to rosters, scholarship limits, not just money limits, but scholarship, but roster limits. If a school, say Texas, okay, here's a story. Troy's backup quarterback, who played a lot last year, Matthew Caldwell, was not going to be the starting quarterback this year at Troy. And he is now on scholarship at the University of Texas, which is surprising. I mean, he's a good quarterback, wonderful kid, but he's at Texas right now. He's not going to play at Texas unless something happens to Arch Manning and maybe some other guy behind him. So they can do that. They can spend as much as they want to get a guy like that just as an insurance policy. In the future, they're going to have to look and think, if I spend this much money for this Group of 5 guy, I need to probably spend a little bit less money on that. So there are limits. Once we get the transfer portal figured out and guys can't transfer just because they wake up one morning and say, I'm going to transfer today, then that will help change things. But the high-profile Group of 5 player will always probably have a better chance to make more money. And in the maybe not as much money and maybe not as much opportunity.
If it does go the way some people think it could, that we will have a merger of some type, of some sort, or some new organization, which I've dubbed the Big Boy Conference. I don't think that'll be what the name of it'll be, but if we do happen to go to something like that, and there are still a lot of people out there that believe that's the future, that's where college football is headed with the SEC and the Big Ten and some select other groups of schools. But either way, could we not see a day when the group of five gets together and does their own thing and just doesn't want to fool with the Power Five anymore? You know, really, are they going to win a national championship in a 16-team playoff? Yeah, I guess they could. Is it going to happen often enough to make it worth it? Probably not. So would a TV deal with another network amongst these schools, and you play when you want to and you do your own thing, could that be in the future?
It could be. It could be. And that's going to be the driving force. It's not going to be the schools all of a sudden deciding, you know, we're tired of playing Western Kentucky for a non-conference home game. We're tired of bringing in Mercer or whomever all the time. It's not going to be that. It's going to be the television networks. And they're going to dictate, or they're going to strongly suggest who the teams are in the Big Boy Conference. Because if they ever do that, and I don't think it's anytime soon, but if they ever do that, it'll be driven by television, and they'll get to really help decide who it is. Because let's face it, if it's a merger of the SEC and the Big Ten and the Big 12 and the ACC, some of the teams are going to get kicked out, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're not going to have Wake Forest. You're not going to have Northwestern. You're not going to have Mississippi State because the networks don't want them. But if it's smaller than that, if it's the SEC and the Big Ten breaking away and taking somebody else, then you got to start making value judgments. Okay, Clemson makes sense. We need to get Clemson in. We need to get, I don't know, Arizona State in. Gosh, we need to get Notre Dame in. We need to get Florida State in. Can you call Mississippi State and have them come in here real quick? Can you call Northwestern or send them a card or something saying thanks for your many years of meritorious service, but we don't need you anymore? There's tough decisions that are going to have to be made, and it ain't just going to be jettisoning the group of five. It's going to mean getting rid of some schools that have been power conference schools for their entire existence.
And I wonder, you know, how that plays out. You know, we talking more lawsuits if they want to kick out Mississippi State and Vanderbilt and Northwestern and Purdue? Probably so. So do you just have to incorporate all those schools and say, you know, you're lucky. You know, you're in the right place at the right time. Just keep your mouth shut. Hang on, and we'll send you a check at the end of the year. Or you might hear some people say, well, you know, they're pretty good in basketball. They got a good baseball program.
That's right.
But this is all about football. But if we'll let you tag along if that's the case. The problem with the Sun Belts and the MACs and whatever around the country, there's, you know, the thing that I think makes it work for them today is the streaming, the ESPN Plus. I mean, the ESPN Plus, they must be 100, if 200 ESPN Plus games on a particularly during basketball, but during football, every game's on. I mean, if your game is not on TV and you're a D1 program, you really must stink.
And I mean,
because every game is on TV to some degree. Could streaming be the future if there's not a network per se, FS1 or TBS and TNT? To me, streaming would be the future for the group of five.
Streaming is the future for a ton of stuff. Yeah, I absolutely think you're dead on with that. And, you know, I've done ESPN Plus, dozens and dozens of ESPN Plus games a year for quite a few years now. And, you know, sure, a lot of the times it's just the mamas and daddies and boyfriends and girlfriends that are watching, but they get a chance to watch and they get a chance to, you know, if you got, I'm on Hulu. And if you look on the Hulu grid of Live Now, sports events Live Now, and you're thinking, who in the world is Lindenwood? What in the world? What is that? Is that Central Connecticut State? And you're looking at anything, I have never heard of some of these people before. Longwood. Longwood is what John hits off on a par 5 off the tee.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Longwood, stuff like
I think I
that.
heard that.
So-
I think I heard that on Beavis and Butthead one episode, but I could be confused.
There's a lot of exposure there. Look, I don't know what the future is for the group of 5. I still think that they're going to be a part of it for a long, long time. I don't think that we're going big boy conference in the foreseeable future for sure, because there's too much value in group of 5 stuff. There are a lot of fans, not as many, obviously. Ohio State has more alums than Troy does or South Alabama does, and more donors. Alabama has more donors than Jacksonville State, but still there's great value there. And
I wonder, Barry, if a way to kind of keep it all together, particularly with the TV partnership they have now, could you see more group of 5 games being played throughout the week instead of on Saturday?
Yeah.
That we want the Power 5 on Saturdays, but Monday through Friday, go for it. We're all in. And now the fans might not like that as much. You know,
they don't have to watch, I mean,
or I'm talking about going to the game. I mean, to me, that's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
Having midweek games.
Well, I don't know how MAC schools do it. I mean, Troy has one Thursday night game this year, and it's on the road. Thursday night games are not easy. Thursday night road games are extremely not easy for the fans, and I understand that. But I don't know how the MAC does it with Tuesday games, Wednesday games, and everything. They have just totally given up any pretense of, hey, we're here for the fans. That's not it at all. They're there for television. You're playing a Tuesday night game at Peden Stadium in Athens, Ohio, and you expect 24,000 of that one. It's not going to happen. It's just there so people on TV can watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Stallion crowds were lame. Well, you don't want some game up in, where was that again? Where in Ohio? Never heard
Athens,
of that place.
Ohio. Yeah,
I'd never heard of Athens, Ohio. That's a new one.
When we come back, Bryan Matthews, AuburnSports.com checks in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information.
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills. For a successful stint in the great outdoors, pack accordingly. Place heavy essentials near your spine for stability in rough terrain, with light items near the bottom. Now, you may be wondering, where does the Bush Light go? In your stomach. Bush. Head for the mountains. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023, Anheuser-Busch, Bush Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
All right, about 25 minutes to the top of the hour. Our man Bryan Matthews, AuburnSports.com, joining us as he does each and every Tuesday. Hey, Bryan, how you doing today?
I am doing great, guys. Good morning.
Good morning to you. What was the ultimate final backstory, the ultimate final decision point upon which that super regional that Coastal Carolina won at Auburn hinged upon, Bryan?
I thought it was Coastal Carolina's pitching. I thought that made all the difference in the world. Auburn was 1 of 14 in the 2 games with runners in scoring position. I think it was like 5 of 35. I don't have it in front of me, as far as runners on base. So those pitchers just won those big moments, and that made the difference, I think. And I think they're a team that can potentially win the national championship. They'd won it 9 years ago, and with that type of pitching staff and that clutch hitting they had, they showed this weekend they've got a real opportunity.
Of all the matchups in the super regionals, are all the host sites, the host teams, Auburn might have run into the biggest buzzsaw of any of them out there.
Yeah, and I think people sometimes get a little bit distracted by the national seeds. I don't think Auburn was ever the number 4 team in the country. Auburn was a good team. I think they were rewarded for being for playing such a tough schedule and having such a high RPI, which is great. But when you look at those two teams on the field, I think that pitching staff that Coastal brought in was clearly the best unit on the field or in Auburn that weekend, especially the depth they had in their bullpen. Very, very impressive team that they had put together up there.
I didn't go to any of the games, but I watched every game and I listened to a good bit of it with Andy and with Brad and all that. But to me, that was one of the real stars. Holy smokes, that place was, to use the youngsters' phrase, that place was lit, Bryan.
It really was. Another record crowd on Friday night. They were adding seats up into the hours before first pitch, which was pretty
They're
wild
putting
on
out
that.
folding chairs and stuff
Yeah,
and everything.
on that right field, on top of the building in right field there.
Yeah.
And it was a great atmosphere. It was a great atmosphere for both games, even though the second game was about 13 hours and 40 minutes after the first one ended, or 12 hours and 40 minutes. But people still showed up and really supported that team. I think Auburn baseball took a step forward this past season when you look back overall with the more attendance records, with what they're able to accomplish, the first super regional hosting, in history, program history. That's something that goes back 25 years there. And I think they returned a really good core of players and those freshmen that played a lot. So this is a team that could really be on the upswing right now.
You said they already, and I noticed in BMAT's Monday Musings, auburnsports.com, you said they already got 5 transfer portal guys
They
committed.
do. They have struck early. The transfer opened 8 days ago, and they got to work right away. They went out and got 3 pitchers, including 2 left-handed arms. They got a guy I think from UAB is going to come in and play probably first base right away. And kind of replace Cooper McMurray. Yeah, I think they did a terrific job overall. And I still think they're going to go out there and look for some players. They need a big left-handed power bat to kind of replace Ike Irish in outfield, so that'll be a big one. But getting the kid from Auburn High School, Todd Clay, UAB transfer, really good player. Led that team in hitting at 361, so he's going to come in right away and help out Auburn. So I think this team is really poised. They also signed a pretty good class that's coming in, a freshman, later this summer, depending on which ones don't get drafted. So a lot of talent that's going to be on next year's team.
Ooh, sounds like it. What about the talent on the football team? Obviously, a lot of big recruiting going on, some big visit weekends. What'd you hear?
Auburn did pick up a couple of commitments this weekend, believe it or not. It's been a minute. I think that's directly related to the House settlement finally going through, and Auburn and other schools can start offering real money to these players and telling them, what is available to them at Auburn. So they got Eric Perry, kind of an under recruited running back from South Haven, Mississippi. Reminds me a little bit of Jarquez Hunter coming out of Mississippi 5 years ago. He was not highly recruited either, but turned out to be a really good back for Auburn. Eric is about 6 foot, which is good size for running back, almost 200 pounds. Plays a lot of quarterback for South Haven, but you can see in his film that he is definitely built and plays like a running back, really shifty, got some good top end speed. And they flipped Jalen Scott from Florida State. He's a 2027, so just a rising junior. A very, very good player, one of the top players in the state for 2027. A guy that can play cornerback, nickel, really physical for his size. Only about $150, $160 right now in high school, but he is a football player. That's a really, really nice pickup.
How well suited do you think Auburn is to immediately jump into the new world order as dictated by the House settlement with the 20.5 million right now cap limit and all of the roster limits and stuff? Is Auburn is this a good thing? Is Auburn locked and loaded, Brian?
I would say so. I think Auburn has really prepared itself well to meet this new era, the revenue sharing era, which is supposedly going to be different from the NIL era. We'll see. And I, I think that John Cohen has been part of the process of moving the SEC and Power Four schools into this era. So I think he's going to be well positioned to understand what's important there. I think, like a lot of schools, Auburn's going to be combining its NIL team with Tigers Unlimited, sort of to prepare for that. And one of the biggest things I think that'll be important in this time, for as however long it lasts, will be schools being able to find these NIL deals that will pass through the clearinghouse for these kids, so they can make them that extra money that could be the difference between keeping them here or getting them here in the first place. So that's going to be a big part of this new era, I feel like. And we'll see how long it lasts. There's going to be some Title IX issues with it that I'm sure will be coming up in court. And I think the first time an NIL deal is turned down, there's probably going to be a lawsuit, and it's going to be tested in court. So we shall see. And of course, they're still trying to pass some sort of national legislation too. So we'll see how far that gets.
Do the athletes still have to go to school? If you're making all this money, I got to think there's some that are thinking, I'm not here to go to school. I'm here to play football or basketball or whatever I'm up here to do. And I've heard that as well. I mean, I've heard some regional and national guys talk about the academic side of this whole story, which has not really been discussed a lot. Certainly, it's an institution of higher learning. That's what you're there to do. But I think that's going to be real interesting to see how that plays out.
I would agree with that. But I would also point out to these so-called people who are worried about academics, where were you 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, a quarter century ago, when schools started pushing these athletes into, I guess you could say, questionable areas, degrees, where they maybe not are getting trained to join the workforce right away, and maybe just there to get whatever entered. We talked about this before, right? Not necessarily getting engineering degrees and accounting degrees and those type of degrees, right? So to me, this is all goes back to a failure by the NCAA, right? They tried to keep amateurism alive longer than it should ever been kept alive. They tried to throw up their hands, pretend academic issues were a school issue or a conference issue, and they had nothing to do with it. So a lot of things they did were positive for schools who wanted to make, these hundreds of millions of dollars off these athletes and off football and basketball, and really didn't do anything to help out the student athletes. And that's kind of, in a lot of ways, what got us to this point.
But I know there's a lot of people, or I would imagine there's a lot of people out there who say, but Brian, amateurism is dead. It never should have been allowed to live and all that. But they still think, golly, Quentin Riggins and, I'm trying to think of some of the backup, Frank McIntosh, or, some of those guys, getting out there and sweating and bleeding for Old State U. And doing it just for scholarship, books, and board and everything like that. Wasn't that just so much better, Brian?
Pat Nix grabbing his helmet, come off the bench, 1993. Never forget that moment. That man loved Auburn and made that play to beat Alabama in the Iron Bowl.
People are getting teary-eyed and everything. But Brian is saying, amateurism, lasted long. Amateurism is, just the idea that these guys were sweating and sacrificing and, wrestling with them angels and all that stuff,
Yeah. Some of those guys got paid too. Just saying.
Well,
Don't know how
John's out. Yeah, John.
wasn't reported.
Yeah.
Wasn't above the board.
Off the books.
I don't think they paid taxes on it, but I'm pretty
Nah.
sure that some of those guys might have made
Yeah.
a few dollar bills back
Yeah,
in the day.
it was happening everywhere back in those days.
Yeah.
No doubt. It's different. You're not going to hear.
No
The days of Pat Dye standing up on the a chair in the locker room giving the wrestling with them angels
with Reggie
speech.
Slack behind.
Yeah, that ain't happening anymore.
I will say this though, I am around the young folks a lot, as much as somebody my age would be normally be unless he was a teacher or something, right?
Right.
And there is still that love of the game, love of the university, wanting to play for your teammates and your coaches. And when you put in the type of work that these student athletes do during the entire off season to prepare for that season, whether it's basketball, football, whatever, they do care a lot. Okay, I know. Oh my God,
That's
this guy's
refreshing to
transferring
know.
away, but that's still a part of it, right? They're not going to go out there and compete the way they do if they didn't.
Right. One more thing about that, about your, I mean, you talk to recruits, you talk to prospective student athletes, you talk to student athletes, you talk to former athletes and stuff. Can you give us a perspective in those relationships, or at least in those conversations, whether or not it's a big deal that Auburn is switching to Nike?
I think it's a bigger deal with the fan base. I haven't really talked to the players about that. That's a great question. But I think it will be, because I think Nike's probably overall a more popular brand, I would say. I think there was a time when Under Armour was really, really cool, and that's what all the young folks wanted. But I don't think that's this time right now. So I think it will be a popular move. I think if you want some Auburn gear, you should go get it right now, because it's like 60 to 80% off. Hint.
Hey, that's exactly
But I
right.
think
They
that
gotta clear the shelves.
I think the Nike gear is going to be a big hit when it comes out here July 1st ish.
Yeah, I think I don't know if we talked about it before, Brian. I'm sure we have, since we talked so much recruiting. But years and years and years ago, I remember asking somebody, I forgot who it was, one of these recruiting guys, and I said, when you talk to these recruits and you're asking them about the decisions they're about to make, what are some of the top things that they mention? And the guy goes, the Nike swoosh. They want a uniform that's got the Nike swoosh on it. I'm thinking, really? Are you kidding me? Oh, no. That Nike swoosh is huge. I thought, okay. Yeah, that's what they think.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into it. I don't know how much these days that it's going to make a difference in recruiting for Auburn, but I think Auburn was ready for a change. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much that we learned just from Bryan being with us on our segment. So much you learned from all of his work, including BMAT's Monday Musings. I did not realize until I read your piece yesterday, and it comes out on Mondays, that Auburn already has 5 transfers in for the baseball season. I also didn't know that China Phillips was in Caddyshack too, John.
Yes, she was.
I had no idea. I had no idea.
She certainly was.
Watched that movie one time, John.
Yeah,
that made it through one.
She was kind of the Lacey Underall character, if you will. Similar like, I'm like, you only watched it once. And I want to say she had a husband that was an actor. Maybe they're still married. Wilson Phillips.
One of the Baldwins. She's married.
Yes, it was one of the Baldwins.
Yes.
That certainly was.
William. I don't know if William's the bad boy Baldwin. I can't keep up with them, but he might be.
Yeah. I mean, aren't they all? I mean, back in the day when they hit the scene, I mean, they were pretty hot. I mean, at least two of the 3 were pretty hot. But they could sing too.
Yep. They were big back in 1990, 91.
Oh, they certainly were. Yeah.
That was part of the musical journey that we always get from BMAT's Monday Musings.
So their parents were the mamas and the papas?
Well, one of them.
And the Beach Boys.
The Beach Boys, Brian Wilson, who's a genius. Love the Beach Boys. You learned that stuff.
To me, some of their best music, if you listen to some of the videos I put in them, were their, some of the Beach Boys songs they did. They're amazing the way they harmonize some of those things. It's really, really good. So go check that out and then listen to some of those videos. Excellent job.
And I didn't realize that Joe Walsh played guitar on
Yes,
Hold On from
that's
Wilson
Joe
Phillips.
Walsh
Great
did
stuff.
everything
I
back
gets
in the day,
around.
man.
He's everywhere.
Amazing.
Life's been
Yeah.
good to him. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so
no
far,
Yeah,
yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
the Eagles about a year ago, Brian, and I'm thinking, is he going to get through this song? I mean, I'm kind of going, ooh, but he did it. I mean, he can still pump it out. Now,
Those
of
fingers just
course,
know, yeah, right. It's just
now
on autopilot.
I will say this: he was no Timothy B. Schmidt, and I don't know what
stop
Barry's
it.
got
Oh,
against Timothy
stop
B.
it.
Schmidt, but
The worst. I'm a
man,
huge Eagles
woo,
fan. The worst.
I
Anyway.
can't tell you why. Man, just
Well-
blew it away. It was awesome.
Well, I'm with Brian in that, I don't know how hot Under Armour is now with the kids and everything. And it, certainly I think it had its day and maybe on the downside, but I know Uncle Keith's red sauce is hot and popular with young people, everybody out there, helping bringing you BMAT's Monday Musings on the program.
It
And it's
does.
available online and all over the place, Brian.
And you can get it hot or regular, and that hot
There
has
you
got
go.
some pop to it, definitely.
Mhm.
So be ready for it. But give it a try. Publix, Piggly Wiggly, Renfro's, statewide. You can order online. BMAT 15% off. Delicious salsa. You can use it on just about everything, and you're supporting in-state business. So give it a try.
What else have you got planned for this week, next couple of weeks, really for the time period between now and SEC Media Days at auburnsports.com?
That's right. Well, we call this dribble season, so it's a chance just to make a fool of yourself on the message board or talk about anything, right? If you're part of the community at auburnsports.com. And it does shift, I think, now to recruiting, especially for the next week. Bunch of visitors coming in, I think, later today and this weekend, probably around 15 total, as Auburn kind of wraps up this period of official visits. I'm expecting, Auburn's at 8 commitments. I think they'll double that within the next 5 to 6 weeks at least. So that'll be big, as far as our site goes. And I'll be starting to look at the football team now that baseball's over. So, taking a look at positions. Got an update on Jordan Crawford. Excuse me, the freshman nose guard who's going to play later this fall, I feel like. So all that and more, auburnsports.com. Give us a try.
All right, before you go, I want you to think about this next week. We'll talk about it even further.
All right.
Barry and I brought it up yesterday. With the new Nike deal and the new age of college football, and things are so much different all over the place. How long before Auburn makes some tweak or adjustment to their football uniform?
Well, think about it.
Okay, we will think about that because
Think about that one.
I don't know if I don't know if I'm with John or Barry here, but I've always been in favor of some tweaks. Barry?
Ding, 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 ding.
Not again.
Yeah.
Next
On
week.
that note,
And hey, not
week.
just Auburn, Alabama too, Brian. I think they really need a tweak or two, but
All right.
next week, that'll be great.
It's all
Appreciate
about
you.
making the money.
Yo,
Yeah.
hello. Ding. Love it.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Brian. Thanks a
Thank
bunch.
you, Brian. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Bryan Matthews, auburnsports.com on our City of Montgomery guest hotline. Travis Reier will join us at the top of the next hour. Some great chats we want to get to on our River Region Straw chat line. I'm telling you, there's some excitement from our man, Terrence. He's a big NHL fan. He's proud of his Florida Panthers. He's thinking a parade down the boulevard there in Fort Lauderdale is coming. It's in the future.
Yeah, we are looking forward to getting Travis Reier on, getting his perspective on, what football, what athletics is going to look like now that the House settlement is upon us. And Brian is right. There is going to be the House settlement, the judge's ruling was really kind of the first part of it. There will be another shoe to drop. It's kind of a two-step process. Step 2 will be lawmakers producing a federal bill to codify the settlement terms, make it into the law of the land, and also hopefully that bill, that legislation, that federal legislation, will shield the NCAA from legal challenges as well. That sure would be good. We'll be back in a moment in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, Marianne from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry joining us here today. And June is really a fun time out at Marguerite's, Marianne. The birthstone, I believe, is pearls, and I know you've got a lot of pearls.
Yes, we got them right here. So exciting. Lots of pearls. It's Pearl Month. Yes.
It is Pearl Month, and Marguerite's has plenty of pearls for you to check out. Also, June's a big month for weddings. It's so wedding gifts, push presents, I know, are very popular as well. Tell us about some of those great ideas.
Sure. Well, guys, just so you're not caught off guard, there are certain expectations these days, or maybe not expectations. That sounds bad. But the person you love would definitely appreciate a gift for certain occasions, like a wedding gift, the wedding band, the engagement ring. Those are great, but just a little something that her maid of honor can hand her, and so she can unwrap it. It's a big picture situation. Write a sweet little letter. But we have those great gifts at Marguerite's, wedding day gifts. And ladies, if you're listening, we have great watches and cufflinks for guys too. But guys, come in, think about it. Great classic gifts, something that they can remember from their wedding day. Diamond studs, a tennis bracelet, pearl earrings, pearl studs, those types of things. Just really great gifts, as well as push presents, which if your wife goes into labor, or granddads to be, if your daughter does, it's just a sweet gift to commemorate maybe their initial or their birthstone. We can help you. We have lots of great options in stock. And of course, we always can make it for you if you have something special in mind.
You know, that's a great point, Marianne. Lots of great options. And Marianne just laid them all out there for you, folks. There are so many great jewelry items, so many great gift items for you to check out there at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Let our viewers and listeners know, Marianne, where are you located there on Vaughn Road?
Sure. We're at 8163 Vaughn Road in the Pepper Tree Shopping Center. We're open 7 days a week. We are open 10 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday.
It's a big month out at Marguerite's in June, so go by and see Marianne and all the staff at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Hey, Marianne, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, a couple of minutes to the top of the hour here on Longshore and McKnight on this Thursday. Talked about Terrence with a little NHL today. He's excited about that. Two-time caller JD seems to think Coastal Carolina was the better team.
Well,
and then somehow we got into an Eagles discussion here. There's an argument going on about Glenn Fry. They're not the same without him.
No, don't get me started. Don't get
Kenny
me started.
Chesney at the Sphere. Wow.
I'm with Nick Saban on this. The Eagles are his favorite artist. The Eagles and the Police were always mine. I saw it on Netflix or something. They had a history of the Eagles, and it was fabulous. It's like a 3-part series. I watched it twice, all of it out there. Look, the best Eagles, the first Eagles were like Glenn Fry and, of course, Don Henley, a guy named Bernie Ledden, and was it Randy Meisner? No, Randy Meisner at the time. That was pretty good. And then they went, let's see, Bernie Ledden got kicked out because he was too country music. And then they bring in Joe Walsh. And then
did Meisner quit or did he get fired?
Meisner quit.
Yeah.
Because Glenn Fry was too hard on him. He was exhausted. So Meisner quit. He wanted more lead singing. He'd been the lead singer at Poco, but he wasn't the lead singer with the Eagles. So he quit, and here comes Timothy B. Schmidt, and then Joe Walsh. Then you bring Don Felder in and everything. The Eagles, the incarnation where they had, I think they were all together, Meisner and Don Felder at the same time. It wasn't Hotel California. I love the deal with Hotel California. I think that was because I know it was Felder and Walsh because they had those great, dueling guitar riffs in Hotel California. But Randy Meisner,
think both of them were there for Hotel California.
I do too.
I think they both were there for that. It was after that. They were not there for the long run, which was the late 70s.
Yeah.
Walsh and Schmidt were there for that album. I do know that. But JD, Deacon Fry, Glenn's son, is with him. He sings Take It Easy. That was like the second song they played when I saw him. Vince Gill is part of them as well. He sings a lot of the high notes on some of the songs.
My favorite country music artist of all time, Vince Gill. Love him. Love him
good.
Being on there, yes.
And they played some of Walsh's and Henley's solo stuff was mixed in there as well. I could have used a little more of Timothy B. Schmidt. I think he had 2 songs that he perform during the show.
Worst.
But
yeah, I'm with Theota. Theotis, the best Eagles song ever was not Hotel California. For me, it was One of These Nights, which was Glenn Fry's favorite Eagles song.
That was a good one.
Randy Meisner singing lead on Take It to the Limit. That was pretty doggone.
You know who sings? Vince Gill sings that for him now. I get
that. Yeah, I get that.
Blew that one out of the water. He was good, but
you got it. I mean, there's some. As a matter of fact, that was one of the reasons why Glenn Fry and Meisner argued so much, is because they were having a concert tour somewhere, and Meisner had been sick or something. He says, "I can't hit those high notes. We can't sing. Take it to the limit." And Glenn Fry says, "Oh, you're going to sing it." I don't think I can.
I don't know if they perform One of These Nights. I know they did Take It to the Limit, but I'm not so sure they did One of These Nights, because I don't know who could. If they did, maybe I was getting a beer. Who knows? But
anyway,
they ended with Desperado, which usually you end with kind of a fast pace. Boom, they turn the lights off. Henley walks to the front. They spotlight him. He plays Desperado,
which
he can still sing it pretty well too.
It's a great song. It was great when it was remade by Clint Black, but it was not extremely popular at the time. It didn't sell a lot.
I wonder, Barry, have the Eagles ever had a number one hit?
Oh, I gotta imagine. They had, up until maybe 5 or 10 years ago, the number one selling album of all time.
Oh, yeah.
And that was
did they ever have
1975.
Did they ever have a number one? I'm going to Google that during the next break. There's been a
out.
lot of bands that have been very, very popular, but never had a number one hit. I mean, I was going to say another band, but I'm not positive about that. But I don't believe Journey ever had a number one hit. With all of their hits, I don't think they ever had one either. I'm just going to leave it at that. Until somebody proves me wrong. I know. Yeah, Neil, quick Google. I know. I just don't have time to do it right now. We're waiting on Travis, so I don't want to get on something.
See, this is what John does. No, but if Barry wants to, he can, Yeah, I like that. Look,
multitasking.
I haven't Googled this or anything. That's Longshore's for Barry. Google this real quick. Yeah,
we're gonna get around to it, but that's some good conversation on the River Region chat line. Witchy Woman, no love for that song, JD.
It is a good song. But Witchy Woman is close, but One of These Nights, just the best. From Terrence McKnight, do you think the Pac-12 will try to poach Texas State from the Sun Belt? And if so, who would you like the Sun Belt to poach to replace them? Texas State, got mixed feelings about Texas State. It's in a wonderful area. It's right just about equally distant between San Antonio and Austin.
Yeah.
It's in a great spot. I don't know why they haven't been better in football than they have, but they've been really good in the other sports. I think they won the Sun Belt Boobas Cup or whatever this year for just being good in everything. But they don't draw very well, and I can't figure that out. Everybody there is a Longhorn fan. That has a lot to do with it. So, in terms of, just being a great spot, I like it. I mean, it's a beautiful place to go and everything. The campus is nice. The facilities are not great, but they're okay. But
so does that, Terrence, I wonder if Terrence's feeling there is, are they trying to move in to get a little footprint into the state of Texas?
Well, what they're trying to do, I mean, it seems early on, what they're trying to do is just get anybody they can. The Pac-12, understand, it's a lot different than it used to be. It ain't the same Pac-12 anymore. You still got Oregon State. You've still got Washington State. And they're looking at, expansion is ongoing. The new Pac-12 has got 8 schools, and I'm trying to think. I know it's like Utah State, Colorado State, Fresno State, New Mexico State, something like that. So Texas State would kind of fit into there. Gonzaga would be a basketball-only member of the Pac-12. So, yeah, I think they could. And to take from to bring into the Sun Belt. I don't know, Louisiana Tech maybe, Western Kentucky, who's been in the Sun Belt before, Middle Tennessee, who's been in the Sun Belt before. I don't know. I think a lot of that stuff because of the House settlement, a lot of schools and a lot of conferences have been kind of sitting on.
But is geography starting to bite people in the butt? I mean, do you need to get schools that are kind of closer to you? I mean, I'm still not thrilled about this, Oregon and Washington in the Big Ten, Southern Cal and UCLA. I mean, so would a Texas school really be a fit?
It'd be more of a fit than, watching this a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, the conference tournament and all the conference tournaments other than the Sun Belt and the SEC. The ACC tournament was being played in Charlotte. And the Cal Golden Bears, both Cal and Stanford are both in the ACC. So was SMU. Cal was at the bottom of the league standings. So they had to win a play-in game, for lack of a better phrase, to continue on in the ACC tournament. The Cal baseball team, 35 members of the team, head coach, assistant coaches, pitching coach, managers, and all that kind of stuff, had to fly from Berkeley, California to Charlotte, North Carolina at great expense. And they got in there. I forget who they played. They played that one game. They lost. They had to turn around and fly all the way back, season over, and all that kind of stuff. John, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever at all. So maybe geography is starting to bite some of these schools in the butt, where it's starting to look a little bit more now that it's real time and real life. Man, we don't need to be doing that again if we can.
I'm with you. Totally with you. All right, our man Travis Reier on YouTube, Talking Tide, joining us as he does each and every Tuesday. Let's just hit him with this one, Barry, right out of the gate. Since we've been talking about the Eagles, Travis, what is your favorite Eagles song?
Wow. Talk about formative years.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
AM radio, maybe. I'm getting that old. I mean, I like Desperado has to be up there. Probably anything. Probably more of the Glenn Fry stuff. I mean, how do you not love Don Henley?
Yeah.
But Desperado would be up there for sure.
I'd have mine. I went with One of These Nights, which
it's a great song.
You've got your demons. You've got desires. Well, I've got a few of my own. That's just great lyrics.
I was not a big fan of Lion Eyes, which was a Glenn Fry tune.
Yeah.
His son Deacon played that when I saw him about a year ago. Not bad. It's too long. The song lasts forever. But anyway, somehow that came up earlier today. We got off on that tangent. I thought, well, we'll ask everybody what their favorite one was. But obviously this house settlement's been the big issue, and we want to get your thoughts about that.
Yeah, welcome to NFL Light, I guess, or Major League Sports. Now you're going to see the investment from overseas entities coming into play. I think we saw that with UCLA and Penn State already jumping on board.
Private equity partners.
Yeah, we're going to have live football, instead of live golf, it sounds like. So, I mean, I get it. At this point, mostly I know they got this commission now, which I kind of got to laugh at, but it's pretty much, at least we have an idea moving forward. Even if you don't like it, at least there's something on the immediate horizon that sort of tells us more exactly where we're headed, which, even at the spring meetings, as we talked about, that was frustrating more than anything else. Not just in terms of, what we're seeing with the house stuff, but just scheduling, the playoff, all that stuff. But I think this kind of is an initial landmark in terms of where you go with all those other things too.
All right, I got to follow up then, Travis. You said you got to, with the College Sports Commission, you said, which I got to laugh at. What is it that makes you skeptical about the College Sports Commission?
Because I guess I've watched the NCAA try to do what this commission is supposedly going to do. And so I'm Missouri. I'm going to be
Show me.
Missouri with this. Yeah, show me state. I'm going to be Mizzou on this one.
Yeah, I'm with you, Travis. They got to show me too. I mean, I'm just not very confident. I'm glad we've moved on, but I still want to see how this all plays out, and I'm still a little skeptical about it.
Let me
It was awesome, though? We had Murray State win a super regional last night.
Yeah.
With an 800-seat stadium.
You saw
Murray
that picture
State.
of their stadium, right?
Oh, my gosh.
I
yeah.
mean, nothing wrong with it, but, I mean, they could play their home games at Lagoon Park in Montgomery, and it'd be just applicable,
It's amazing. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It is great stuff, and that stuff still happens. We were talking yesterday when after this is all broken, we'd finally been able to record a show, Travis, about a comment that was made by Alabama Athletic Director Greg Gurn, and I'm trying to remember who he made it to. It might have been to Ross Dellinger at Yahoo Sports, where he said he tells his staff, or he's been telling his staff, that the three major things that have happened, the three biggest things that have happened within intercollegiate sports are the formation of the NCAA, the indoctrination into Title IX, and this House settlement. Is it that? I mean, is it that transformative, do you think? Changes everything.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about that. It absolutely does. And I think it just inches us closer to there being really a 30 university sort of situation in terms of the big picture. I know we're going to have something resembling a cap in terms of revenue sharing, but who realistically can raise that kind of money on an annual basis and distribute it and still operate, right? I mean, you might be able to distribute $20.5 million, but what is the rest of your athletic department going to look like outside of football and maybe men's basketball? So, Title IX sports, non-revenue sports, those are all the things that are going to be probably, more impacted, I would say, by a good bit than the golden geese, I guess you could call them.
Yeah, and Greg Gurn mentioned a little bit about that, non-revenue producing sports, Olympic sports, whatnot. What are your thoughts about the future of those types of sports? Are they going to eliminate them, or will they just, cut travel and cut, instead of 20 different uniforms, we're only going to have 2? I mean, how do you see that playing out?
Yeah, I mean, probably going to have to tighten up in some different areas. It'll be interesting to see how some of these mega conferences go about scheduling now from that perspective with the costs that are involved. If you're, say, the Big Ten and you're literally coast to coast now, I think they've already introduced some of that. But, again, I think that'll be more on the Olympic and non-revenue side. They're going to have to deal with Title IX and all this. They can kind of act like and hold their fingers in their ears like they'll just cruise on down the street with what was agreed upon here in the last few days, but that's sort of a federal deal, so we'll have to see what happens with that.
Yeah, I kind of wonder. The NCAA can scale back Title IX. That's the law of the land, not just the law of the NCAA.
And I was kind of, we talked about this earlier, Travis. I could see the softball team, those trips to California to play Santa Clara, whoever it is out there, those days are over. We're going to play teams closer to home.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama traveled to Hawaii a few years back, to play the Rainbow Wahine out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what you're seeing already is maybe more of that. I think Alabama softball the last couple of years opened at Georgia Tech in an event there in Atlanta. That's a 3-hour ride over. So a couple of 3 days, you can get in 6 softball games. So I do think that'll most certainly be in play for those sports.
We talked about Greg Gurn. How well suited do you think Alabama is to jump in on this right now? There had to have been a lot of advanced planning, right?
Yeah, based on, it was interesting, all of these schools like Alabama, Florida, they rushed to get statements out. And we all saw the tweets on X that we are incredibly well suited for. We anticipated this. And I think they all probably have, but you don't know how you look till you get your picture took, and none of them have had their picture taken in this current environment. So, or to use another one, I guess, from Mike Tyson about getting punched in the mouth or punched in the nose.
Yeah, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face.
Yeah,
that's right. So
didn't he also say something about
still hadn't
spinal?
landed yet. What's that?
Who was that, Barry, that asked him how?
Oh, that was Jim Lampley.
Yeah.
No, it might have
Jim
been Jim
Gray.
Gray. Yeah,
Asked Tyson
spinal.
about
I
his
broke
back
my
or
back.
something.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
He said spinal.
Oh,
Yeah,
program on.
The right hook is still coming. So
Yeah.
we don't really know. Yeah.
On another subject, let's go to the NFL. Obviously, I'm not up to date on it. I don't follow it as closely as maybe I should. I did not realize Mac Jones was no longer a Jag, and now he's a 49er.
Yeah. He, it's interesting because when he came out of Alabama, there was all that talk in the pre-draft about him going to San Francisco there. And it didn't materialize. But, he is, after a year in his hometown, at Duval, he is headed out to Santa Clara, going to be a 49er. And I think it's a good situation for Mac. Mac's one of those guys, one way or the other, we're going to look up in 12 years, he'll probably still be in the league, even if it's just as a backup. Because I think if you talk about that role just specifically right now, he's one of the top guys. And I know he didn't have the greatest of years when he stepped in there for Trevor Lawrence last season. But really, when you look at his career numbers up against Trevor Lawrence's career numbers, like Daniel Jones, I mean, they're all kind of in the same ballpark.
So could he eclipse Gary Rutledge's record as an NFL backup?
Yeah, Jeff Rutledge is the one. Jeff was with the Giants.
Yeah.
I think Jeff backed up Y.A. Tittle with the Giants. And then
Charlie Connerly before that.
Yeah, right.
Well, let me ask you this then. Since John brings this up, I like to follow up every once in a while. Whenever Mac Jones signed the deal with the Jaguars, I mean, he'd been the starter for the Patriots. It's like he's given up all hopes of being a starter. And I thought, okay, well, maybe a year with the Jags, get his feet underneath him and then compete for starting. He ain't going to be the starting quarterback at the 49ers. I mean, is it just a organic decision for him to say, well, I'm just going to stay in the league. I'm not even going to worry about competing for a starting job. I'm just content being a backup. Who gives up the chance at a starting job? I don't get it.
Yeah, the problem for Mac is I think it was good news, bad news last year. The good news was he got to go to his hometown. The bad news was he didn't really have control of that. He was I think the Jags acquired him via trade. He had a year left, I think, on his deal. And so his rookie deal. And so he ended up in Jacksonville, and that was a dumpster fire, as we know, down the stretch, especially really the entirety of last season. But, I think he probably looks at it like he's going out there with a guy that he probably got to know, again, pretty well in the draft process. And it's still early enough in his career where, he can gain some of that knowledge and improve even as a backup and maybe set himself up in a year or so for something a little bit more. Or, he could be on the A.J. McCarron track. I mean, A.J. was similar. It looked like when A.J. went to, I think it was Buffalo, you kind of thought, well, this might be a shot with that team. Now, we know Josh Allen was coming in there, but Josh Allen was considered more of a project. But it never really materialized for A.J. There either. So, I think it's kind of up to Mac at this point. I think, again, as a very suitable backup, he's got longevity if that's what he wants.
Wouldn't be. Hey, I was a career backup. I have no problem with it.
If you can make $7-8 million as a top level, maybe more as a top level backup, because there's a premium on top backups right now. I mean, they're not making league minimum. If you look at the deals, even the top backups have, because as we know, each and every week, top quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks around the league are out, going down.
He'll get some playing time, I would imagine. All right, before we let you go, the U.S. Open begins on Thursday at Oakmont. What do you think? Who you like?
I mean, how do you not like Scotty?
Yeah.
I don't know. That place is crazy tough. Oakmont, the complexity of the greens, I think, has me thinking it may be someone that we're not talking about enough, maybe a Sepp Straka, someone like that, more consistency in terms of fairways and greens, but then how can they handle those greens? Because you're going to have 70-foot putts that, you know, are going uphill left to right and then back right to left at the end. So it's hard not to like. It's hard not to like Scotty.
No doubt, and you better keep it in the fairway because
that's exactly right.
That rough is brutal.
And I think Scotty has developed the sort of patience needed too. Like, he trusts himself right now. You know, so many of these guys this week are going to hit it where they shouldn't off the tee, and they're going to go for hero shots out of that rough, and they're going to turn bogeys into doubles and triples.
Mm-hmm.
And just like that, they'll sort of be out of the mix. You know, I think Bryson you got to look at. I mean, he can handle that type of golf. It's a big golf course, and he's built to handle it. And you know, so those kind of guys. I think ultimately we got another sort of live PGA Tour day, right? Like Rahm made the run on Sunday in Charlotte at the PGA. I think, you know, one of those guys from over there and Scotty, or, you know, maybe someone else from the PGA Tour. I see that again, just like we had at the U.S. Open last year with Rory and Bryson. I think it's going to be that type of playoff deal.
Always good stuff. Travis Reier on YouTube. What's on tap this week, Travis?
We're going to have some SEC talk with my pal Brent Beard. We're going to have some NFL talk. You know, we'll have a few things cooking, even though we're, like you guys probably, very, very captivated by the golf. Before you know it, SEC Media Days are going to be here in about a month. As crazy as that sounds, and we'll be ramping up the Bama talk as well.
Fantastic, man. Travis, we always appreciate your time. Always a big part of what we do on Tuesdays. We thank you and have a great week. We'll talk next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Hi, buddy. Thank you. Travis Reier on YouTube on our City of Montgomery guest hotline. So, several things we got to get to between now and the top of the hour. I believe the Phantom's Daily Dog, Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Yep. Robbie is up early today. Robbie's chimed in at 8:03 and again at 8:04, if I'm not mistaken. We'll touch on those along with several others today, and the U.S. Open. It is 2 days away, and Barry, these guys better hit it straight. That's all I can say, because that rough
is rough. Yeah, interesting stuff. Also Friday, the start of the College World Series. Looking forward to that. And, of course, the NBA Finals. Lots to get to. Something's going to be on the Phantom's Daily Dog today.
Yes, it is.
We'll have that coming up in just a moment. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Get some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information. Okay, 25 minutes past the hour on this Tuesday. A lot to get to between now and the top of the hour. This blew me away.
All right.
I'm trying to visualize this, think about it, how it played out. Robbie says he listened to all 11 innings of the Tampa Bay Ray Boston Red Sox game yesterday.
What's hard? What?
I just couldn't imagine doing that.
You couldn't imagine Robbie doing that, or you couldn't imagine you doing that?
Anybody. 11 innings?
Yeah.
Oh.
Many is the time that I've sat and listened to an entire Major League Baseball game. The Rays have won 15 of their last 19. Listen to all 11 innings of the game in Boston last night. 10-8 Rays. I mean, you're doing other stuff. I mean, you're not just sitting there in your overstuffed, threadbare chair, rocking back and forth and saying, come on, Tampa Bay, let's get this.
I think Robbie's doing one thing. I think he's focused in on the broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, he's focused in whatever he's doing, but he might be, I don't know, whittling. He might Sudoku or something while he's sitting there listening. Heck yeah. John couldn't listen to one inning. I'm talking about 2 half innings of baseball, just sitting there, something to drink, I guess looking at the wall while he's listening, looking at the ceiling for a full inning. And I'm talking about 1, 2, 3 up, 3 down, 2 half innings, 6 people up, 6 people down, 1 full inning. I can't see John doing that, but listening to a whole game, especially when I'm driving.
Yeah,
absolutely. I can do that. That makes the hours go by, but your visualization is wrong. You're visualizing Robbie sitting there in a little folding chair by a folding card table in his kitchenette or something, with the little radio scratchy from a long distance away. I don't know, who carries the Braves in and around Greenville, and just sitting there.
I'm trying to figure out where did he pick up the Boston Tampa game?
Well,
how did he find that?
Heck yeah, MLB, the MLB app. Man, that's how I listen to all of it. You can listen to all of it on the MLB app. I'm a big believer in that, but it's not as though Robbie's sitting there. Come on, Chris. Come on, let's get a strike here. Throw the slider, throw the slider. Yeah, over and over and over again.
Now, what is this? In Cleveland, on the left center wall, they've got an advertisement for something called Phantom Fireworks. Whoa. Hold on.
This is from Robbie. John, you need to watch the Rays when they go to Cleveland later this season. They have a sign in left center at Progressive Field called Phantom Fireworks. Now, as it turns out, I've told you about my good friend Gunnar Whetstone. He listens to the program all the time. He and Becky and Hunt, and Becky's dad, Gary, is my Canadian buddy and
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
They're actually in Cleveland. They're in
Oh,
Cleveland
wow.
right now. They've been, I can't remember who they've been watching, but they're huge Cleveland Guardian fans.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, I'm going to have to ask him, hey, is there a sign in the left center at Progressive Field called Phantom Fireworks? We may have to get the Phantom's lawyers.
I think
involved
they're working on it now,
in all
as a
of
matter of
this.
fact. But
Yeah.
maybe they can take a photo and send it to us. I'd like
Well,
to
see,
see
this is my
Phantom
buddy
firework.
Hunt. This is
Yeah.
Hunt Whetstone.
Oh,
I mean, he was at the
nice.
game. He caught a foul ball.
Look at that.
So, yeah, they're out there. They're
Beautiful.
racing, right?
Do
So,
they have
yeah.
family in Cleveland, or they just do people
They
people
do- they're
go
ju-
to
they're
Cle-
just-
okay?
They're just huge
All right.
Guardians fans. They go to at least one
Yeah,
a
well, that's
day.
awesome.
So, I mean, one a year. So, yeah.
Big Cleveland
Um,
Brown fans too, I believe, aren't they?
Oh, heck yeah. And Cavaliers,
Yeah.
the whole deal.
Yeah.
Our buddy Jason Jones says, I'm behind, but if John had asked this question early, let me set the stage. John had asked this question early. Will, with the $20.5 million salary limit, by the way, that's the limit this year. I mean, it'll grow. It ain't always going to be $20.5 million. It'll rise every year. With the cap of $20.5 million, will they just can the G5 schools pay the $20.5 million? Will they get priced out of it by Power 5 schools, Power 4 schools wanting to poach their good players? And Jason, who again was involved, was one of the chief executives of the Trojans Together Collective at Troy, which is now no more because of this House ruling. He says, I'm behind, but if the clearinghouse is doing their job, the NIL value will drop drastically. If there's a gap of $20.5 million for P5 schools, they can't afford to poach a G5 player like they have. Now they can get one or two, but they're not going to stockpile, like I said before, second teamers, third teamers from a group of 5 schools like they used to in the past. And that's an interesting aspect of it. If now you have to have your NIL deals cleared by Deloitte and whatever it is, that clearinghouse, if you have to have them cleared now for actual monetary value, where they look at a piece of paper and say, wait a minute, this kid is going to go out and have 3 appearances at Del Taco and they're going to pay him $1.5 million. No, that's not fair market value. So that's another thing to watch. The NIL value will drop a lot into actual true market value, John, instead of, hey, we'll give you $3 million if you come here.
Sure. Like maybe it was intended.
Means that the players are going to be commanding more money from the schools themselves.
Yep.
This is what we were talking about, the Cam Ward syndrome with Auburn. If you're going to have to spend extra money because the NIL money's not there to get that big-time hotshot quarterback, then you're probably going to lose out on that left guard that you need, and or at least think hard about recruiting somebody from high school and developing him.
Well, let's trickle it down even further.
Because there is a budget now. There wasn't a
Yeah.
budget before.
Or let's trickle it down even further, as we mentioned with Travis. How does this affect the men's golf team, women's volleyball, cross country,
well,
swimming and diving?
Here's
Wait a
what
minute.
I believe.
We got to play. We got to pay this right guard. I can't worry about this guy that's a diver or they're swimmers. No, can't worry about that guy.
Well, the vast majority of the money of the $20.5 million, the vast majority of that $20.5 million, John, is never going to see the best men's golfer on the team. It ain't ever going to see the second best women's volleyball player. They ain't getting that money by and large, except for some rare exceptions. So, because that money's got to go to football. That money's got to go to basketball, especially if you've got private equity investors now. They're going to want to see a return on their investment. So how do you, what they're going to get is they're going to get the scholarship. They're going to get the room, the books, the board. They're going to get the travel and all that kind of stuff. They're not going to get NIL. I mean, I'm sorry. They're not going to get, that $20.5 million. So maybe you can cut them an NIL deal. Maybe you can get somebody who's a big softball fan and said, yeah, we'll have her come out to our deal and all that kind of stuff. Where you're going to, but you're going to have, the schools are going to have to come up with the money somewhere. John, as you know, you're either going to have to generate the money or you're going to have to cut expenses.
No doubt.
And what they're going to do is they're going to cut expenses.
Influences at Penn State, and I forgot the other school that
UCLA.
UCLA.
Yeah.
What's to happen if some Saudi businessman has a liking to Ole Miss? And
they can do what they want.
Kind of a live model, if you will. That, whoa, wait a minute, is this what we want? I certainly hope we don't get to that.
We might come to the age, for lack of a better word, of the sugar daddy, where some big super donor, Auburn's got him, Alabama's got him, Tennessee's got him, a lot of people got him. The guy who just absolutely has more money than he knows what to do with. And they're going to say, look, I'm paying for this. I'm paying for this. I'll pay for that. You want this? I got it and everything. By gosh, we got to win a championship. Here's an example. And this comes from Brandon Marcello, who's been a guest on the program before. He's from CBS Sports. And his report says, quote, it is believed that Texas Tech will pay its players $55 million. Among all of its programs. That's revenue sharing plus NIL. The NIL, there's no cap on that. There's caps on individual deals, but you can, spend as much as you want. $55 million, making the Red Raiders perhaps the highest paying college athletics program in the country. They've got something called the Red Raider Club, and it's going to be fueled, John, by about 5 or 6 big-time oil guys.
Yeah.
That ain't got anything better to do than to feed their horses, feed their cows, milk their cows, and fund Red Raider athletics.
And
that's what you're going to see. That's all of a sudden,
kind of what I was
Tech is as big a player as Ohio State. And
yeah, how do we get even? How do we compete with the Ohio States and the Georgias and the Alabamas and the Texases and Penn, whoever? We'll just pay for it.
Yeah.
We'll just spend money. And a program like Texas Tech, who's out in the middle of nowhere, kind of been an afterthought. Every now and then they, have a little hot streak.
Pat Mahomes,
But consistently, they are not considered a big boy. They're a flash in the pan. Then they kind of go back down to being what they always are, average at best. Now, you got guys that'll spend money and not care how much they spend. Doesn't matter. So what? Big deal. We want to win.
You saw Texas Tech play for a national championship in softball. Well, if you didn't see it, they did. National championship in softball under a first-year coach who I know, and it ain't the coach. It's because they spent NIL money on softball. They're going to spend NIL money on football. They've gotten a lot of pretty doggone good transfers in. That's what you're going to see, John. You're going to see the birth of the sugar daddy. Guys, girls, whatever, who are going to say, all right, let's get together and let's buy us a championship. Because
what
now
program in the SEC is going to copy that model? What is it going to be? Texas
A&M.
Is it going to be Tennessee? Is it going to be A&M? Is it going to be Auburn? Is it going to be Alabama?
Everybody's got heavy hitters, but which heavy hitters are willing to really swing the big bat? Which heavy hitters are ready to push some chips into the middle of the table and say, I don't care how much it costs. I've got the wherewithal to do it. Let's do it. Because I don't know about return on investment. I don't know how much money they're going to make on the money that they're going to be contributing to the athletic program. But I guarantee you, they're going to be wanting to expect a return on their investment.
Well, and I think some of these
titles.
I think the return is we want to win the national championship.
Yeah, that's it.
We want to be down on the field when the trophy's being handed over and the confetti's flying down, and these 3 or 4 or 5 big dogs that got you there. We want to be right there with you. And if
Now-
we can stand on the sidelines, like, well, we've seen that happen pre-NIL, pre-house settlement.
You talk about perks?
Yeah.
I mean, you needed a limo to the game, sir? We can get
you
you a
want to fly with
helicopter.
you want to fly with the team out there? Because
Yeah.
we're leaving tomorrow. We got a couple extra seats on the charter.
Yeah, you got that
Those
right.
guys have their own plane though, so
Well,
I doubt
yeah.
going to be flying with them.
Look
Yeah,
for
unlimited smoothies, Chris. There's no doubt about it.
Well,
Texas
is this
Tech,
a
I think-
thing? Is this a thing? Back to our original point before we go to break and go to the to the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. You said you couldn't even imagine, couldn't even fathom sitting and listening to an entire baseball game on the radio. Have you ever, like Chris the Bammer says, the best radio was listening to the Obs while driving home from a Bammer victory, and the Obs are losing with Andy and Stan on the broadcast. A close second is an LSU. Have you ever in your life listened to an entire fourth quarter of an Auburn football game?
Oh yeah, I'm like Chris. If I'm
John says-
coming back, normally it would
losing.
happen coming back from Tuscaloosa. If they had an earlier game and Auburn was playing later, and after you did some post game celebrations and whatnot, you packed up and hit the car. You hit them at about into the third, start of the fourth, and what else you going to do going down 82? You got to have something to keep your mind, so you don't fall asleep right driving to somebody's cow pasture. So, yeah, and if things weren't particularly going well, I don't know, bad officiating, bad bounce of the ball, just outright loss. Yeah. I mean, it didn't matter if you had 5 or 6 people. Yeah, but nobody said a word.
Yeah.
And listen to that. And LSU broadcasts are good, too, when things aren't going their way either.
After Troy beat LSU in Baton Rouge with Coach O there in 2017, we did our post-game show. Of course, we had to pack up all the equipment, tons of equipment. We are sprinting out to our cars so we could listen to that LSU post-game show.
Oh, it's the best. So I don't know if I've ever listened to it. And it's been a while. I mean, back in the day when they only broadcast 2 or 3 games a year, certainly I listened to games on the radio when I was a kid. But I've obviously done that. I've been known to sit in my driveway and listen to radio broadcast in my car.
Yeah.
So yeah, before we go to break, because I know the wheel is up there. The Phantoms Daily Dog did not go well last night. The Braves, obviously the road was not too tough on them. An extensive road trip. They go into Milwaukee and they beat the Brewers last night.
Yep.
So we were on the wrong side of that one.
Yeah, there we go. That's all there is to that. Chris Sale, good game, 5-hitter for the reigning Cy Young Award winner, left-hander for the Braves. 1 run, 5 hits. Milwaukee wins it. I'm sorry, Atlanta wins it over Milwaukee, 7-1 in.
So
Milwaukee.
tonight,
Sale had 11 strikeouts.
You were telling me about that pitching matchup. I might have.
Okay,
it's
all right.
Tough. Tonight, Barry, 6:45 is the first pitch. 6:45.
Are we going St. Louis?
Yes, sir. We're heading to the St. Louis Cardinals are hosting the Toronto Blue Jays. This is a even game. It's a pick 'em. I don't really know much about these two pitchers.
Both teams are 36 and 30. They're an even.
Maybe that's why it's a
line
pick 'em.
because they have the same record.
Yeah, I wondered that too. I saw that both with the identical record, but the home team is St. Louis. They're going to be batting last. I like that. They're batting last.
Yeah.
So we're going to take the Cardinals at even against the Toronto Blue Jays. I believe this is an interleague matchup. I thought so.
Yeah.
So
a couple of pretty good pitchers. Miles Mikolas versus Chris Bassett should be good. So we've got the Blue Jays
at the Cardinals. We've got Cardinals at even.
All right, there we go.
We're taking St. Louis, the home team.
Coming up, our Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel next. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
All righty, welcome back in. It is about 15. During the break, can they bring Stan back? Can Stan come back?
He's retired.
It's just not the same.
He's retired.
I like Jason,
family,
but
time.
He's no Stan. He is no Stan.
I knew it would be a period of transition for you.
Ooh, I can't hear that for some reason.
I knew it would be your microphone switch, but I knew it would be a transition for you. And that's fine, and I get it. I love Jason Campbell. I think he does a wonderful job, but there's going to come a day when Philip Marshall's going to retire. And I know John's had a difficult time without Stan, but I'm just telling you guys, when Philip cashes it in, we may have to have an intervention with John at some point. That's
I cannot read lips.
That's going to be rough.
Hey, give me a Yep.
Can't
hear you
difficult.
There for some reason. Maybe he hasn't noticed that yet. On this control.
I can hear you. Everybody can hear me. Yeah,
I can't hear you for some reason. Don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
that all of a sudden just happened, John. You might want to check your settings. So yeah. All right. So because I heard it switch. I heard his.
Oh, how about that? Yeah, there we go. I don't know why.
Better. There you go.
Speakers.
We lost
for some reason during a break. There we go.
Yep.
There we go. What I was saying is during the break, I was just thinking, can we bring Stan back? I mean, nothing.
I heard
Jason.
that. We all heard that. Yeah.
I just
one of these days.
It's not the
and
same.
It's fine. It's like I said, real quick. Like I said.
Yeah.
I knew it would be a period of transition. I love Jason Campbell. I think he does a great job. I think he's really good. Works with Andy. It's nothing personal against Jason. I love him. But John was a Stan guy. John was on Team Stan. I'm just saying. I mean, it's been difficult. It's been a difficult transition for him. But one of these days, and I've warned the listeners and viewers about this a moment ago. Philip's going to retire.
Barry.
When that happens, can we get a prayer chain for John together? I mean, somebody get a big card from Dollar Tree or something like that, and we could all sign it and send it to John, with sympathy. We know that,
I'm kind of preparing myself for that, Barry, because every Friday before Memorial Day, my last prediction is Philip's going to retire.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of preparing for that. I'm glad he's going on this cruise to the Bahamas. Is it Carnival or I wonder what cruise line he goes on.
It might be like Fred's.
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, can you imagine Philip and his wife going on a cruise? She's probably a lovely lady and all that.
Yeah. He's a big cruise guy. I think they go every year.
Well, what does he do? Well, what do you do on the cruise?
I don't see
he's
Philip
got
as
on the straw hat.
Yeah.
He's got on the
I don't see him as a high roller inside the casino in the ship. No. I don't see him out playing
probably.
Yeah, I don't see him playing shuffleboard on the outside deck. I would, the thing about cruise, there again, I've been on one cruise, is a lot of people that like to eat because they are eating constantly on a cruise
That's all
ship.
I would know to do.
Yeah.
Basically.
So maybe when Philip gets on the high seas, out in the Caribbean. He goes, this is the life. I'm had it with chasing college kids around and
barking my knees on the bottom of the press box table at the Jane B. Moore softball stadium. All right, here we go.
All right, here we go.
Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel, where you could be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, exit 22 off I-85 in Shorter, Alabama. Let's get to it. Here we go.
Spin it, Gurn. A lot of topics today. Got to hustle up.
Dookie.
And
what?
The first one is crazy.
Yes.
Catch.
This better be an Angel Stadium, and it is. Good job. His name is Denzel Clark. He's only played like 16 games in the major leagues. Plays for the Athletics.
This one to center field.
This
Denzel Clark
Angel
on
Stadium.
the move back after he stepped.
Oh my God!
Makes another catch.
Oh my God!
Back-to-back weeks where he wins the Electric Play of the Week, and he's already on the leaderboard for this week.
You go ahead and
I don't know if that's a guy that's broadcast.
I've heard the list. I've seen the list of the greatest catches you're ever going to see in your life. If you don't have room for this one on your list, we're watching two different sports. I mean, Denzel Clark climbs the ladder and then hangs out. You want to talk about playing above the rim, folks. This ball is out of the ballpark.
I love the reaction of the Angel player. He's looking like, are you kidding me?
Come on now. But he's played 16 games in the major leagues. He's a rookie. This is the second catch he's made like that. He's made another one like that as well. So this, I don't know if he'll stick. I don't know how much of a hitter he is, but he, man, that's two amazing defensive plays in 16 games.
Does Beth Mowens do Major League Baseball?
See, I was wondering who that was. My gosh, if that's a guy, that's the shrillest male voice I've heard in a long time. So anyway, that's a good one. That's a good catch.
What a catch. Man, outstanding.
Yeah, really good. Okay.
Great audio and video with that one. All right, what do we got? Spin the wheel. Victoryland up at 24/7, where you can be a winner too.
Runaway Ed. Wasn't that an episode of?
Wow, what we got here?
Oh, yeah, the zebra. They found this zebra had escaped. Rutherford County, Tennessee. I don't know. The zebra's name's Ed. He had been lost for a long time and had been kind of forgot about it. He was somewhere in rural Tennessee. I don't know where Rutherford County is, but Ed was just hanging out in some field. I mean, he's eating grass. Zebra, middle of nowhere, Tennessee. And all of a sudden, they get reports. Hey, man, there's a zebra out there eating. So the cool thing is, number one, I mean, it's a zebra out there in the wilds of Tennessee. Number two, it's just out there minding its business. It's hanging out, eating grass and everything. But the cool thing is, from Ed's perspective, is here comes this helicopter. And put the picture back up again, Gurn, if you can. Here comes this helicopter. Ed's totally chill with the whole deal,
he's
right,
good.
Man?
I noticed that too.
Ed's like, all right, suppose this happens. Hey, what's that? Is that lady naked in the back of that window in that house?
Yeah, pretty good view from up here. This is pretty nice.
No kidding. Ed's like totally okay with it. He's not like fighting it or anything. He's just like, all right.
I wonder what the other animals thought about a zebra out there grazing in the pasture or walking through the woods. I wonder what the other horses and cows and ponies and whatnot thought about this guy.
Cool with it. Let's take a break. More to come.
Yeah.
Our Victoryland 777 topic wheel presented by Gurn Jr. in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the river region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. River Bank and Trust. Okay, back at it. Here we go. We're about 6 minutes to the top of the hour. Gurn's locked and loaded. Let's get these four going on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel.
Really? Can we? Is this a
Dookie?
what?
Is that like the doobie? Oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah. How about that? Murray State playing Duke, tight ball game. Murray State, the Racers. I don't know how good their pitching is, but they can dadgum hit. Murray State hits a home run in the 8th inning. This is the final out. And the Murray State Racers from Murray, Kentucky, that's the Missouri Valley Conference. They win the Oxford Regional, beating Ole Miss in the championship game. They go to Durham. They beat Duke in the Super Regionals. The Murray State Racers, they play in a park that seats 800.
Ooh.
I mean, like I said before, Lagoon Park is nicer.
Yeah.
And Lagoon Park is awesome. Their head coach mows the grass at their stadium. That's part of his job there. And now they're playing the College World Series. That's one of the reasons why you got to have the group of 5 involved. The Cinderella Stories, the Coastal Carolinas, and the Murray States. They're playing in the College World Series, for gosh sakes. It's great.
Awesome. All right, 3 more to go. Let's see what else we got left on our Victoryland 777 topic wheel. A lot of topics today.
That's what Gurn Jr. gets out of that. He titles it Dookie. Yeah.
Yeah, Dookie. I love that.
Yeah.
You got to be on your toes because we don't know what these are. We're seeing them for the first time just like you.
That's rough.
Oh, this is rough. Yeah. Check this out.
Holy
See that little white dot right there? I noticed this yesterday. They cut the rough with push mowers. There was a caravan, a convoy of push mowers going up and down the golf course yesterday in Oakmont, cutting the rough with, people cut the front yards with those things.
I remember in the opening when Kenny Loggins is doing the
here we go. Look at this. Yeah.
They're all back at Bushwood 45 years ago. They're using push mowers.
Well, those are real mowers, but they spin, they're spinning this way instead of this way. I know people, I don't know what it's a rotary mower,
right.
You roll it with this way instead of this way. Yeah.
Yeah.
But those are just,
that rough, man.
Whew,
that rough.
And you saw that golf ball in there.
Yeah. How are you supposed to get that out of there?
Chip it back into the fairway. Don't get cute.
Yeah. I like this.
That's why you'll see this. Yeah, you'll look at this convoy of people cutting the rough there.
That's what it looks like right before Kenny brings in the River Region Straw over there in the lawn at Phantom Enterprises right there.
Cutting the lips of those bunkers like that. Yeah, look at that.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's like a symphony, right? That's like a ballet.
They get it done. Beautiful. That's why you'll see these scores at, I think when Angel Cabrera won it, he was like +4.
That
when
poor
he won
kid,
it there.
Look at what he's having to do.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I mean, that's craftsmanship there. You don't want to get in that stuff. No, that ain't good.
You draw the short straw when you got to that part.
That is, you chopping it out of that. Okay, Gurn, let's see what, blue and green, no way. It's blue and green left on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Let's see what we got. It's going to be.
These are the two, you got brawling and you got kidding around.
Kidding
These are the two
around.
opposite ends of the spectrum. Oh, Jason Kidd and the Knicks. I don't know why the Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau. I mean, they made their first conference finals in like forever. Jason Kidd is with the Mavericks. It seems to me that the NBA only has, what do they have, 32 teams or something. They only have 36 guys that's ever in it. It's always the same guy. Jason Kidd has coached everywhere. Doc Rivers has coached everywhere. I mean, it's always the same guy. It used to be that way in the old days.
Who is the guy?
Shue, those guys always. They always hire the same guys.
Yeah,
all the time.
And who was the guy? He wore the glasses. He probably coached everywhere. I think he coached a little college too, but I think he coached
Larry Brown.
Yes, that's the one.
Larry Brown won a national championship at Kansas. He also coached in the NBA forever. Jason Kidd, why? I mean, Why him? He's coached everywhere.
Seems like
He's gotten
baseball
fired at a few
managers
places.
kind
How
of.
about somebody new? How about somebody different? How about Nate? How about the coach at Alabama? You know,
Yeah.
get
No,
somebody
he's good.
new, fresh, a
Yeah.
little fire breather who has a little history in New York.
I think he's okay, but
Let's go that.
I
One more.
get you. All right, one more to go before we wrap things up today. Got to spin it to make it official on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel for this Tuesday, and looks like a fight broke out. Let's see what this could be about. Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Stanley Cup
final. Yeah.
Oh, the ref's in the way.
The ref's trying to. Oh, here we go.
Nice.
Oh, it did get a little testy.
Ooh.
Again, bear in mind the red-clad team, the Florida Panthers. Look at the score. I mean, they're beating the snot out of them. It's the third and final period.
So does the rookie ref? Yeah,
the
does
guys
the
on the left. Come on.
So look, hear this one ref just skating around, got his hands on his hips. He must be the senior ref.
Yeah.
There's another guy. He's getting out of the way.
What they're doing is they're waiting for somebody to fall. The first guy that drops, then everybody jumps in, fights over. But nobody's dropped yet. And the thing over on the left, give me a break. Ain't nobody. That guy in the red, he ain't doing anything. He's just holding that guy off. Maybe, there's a sucker punch.
But I mean, why do you want to punch a guy that's got a hard plastic helmet on? That's got to hurt your hand.
No kidding. Nobody ever gets really hurt in a hockey fight. It's like a football
but
fight.
the fans love it. Yeah. Oh man, this is.
Yeah, look at the fans and over on the behind
sticks
the
all
glass.
over the floor, sticks on the ice, gloves on the ice.
See, now this is when John is perpetually scrolling through his TV. He'll stop for this. He ain't stopping for a regular hockey match, but he's stopping for that one. Okay.
I mean, it's kind of like Lady Tide basketball. If I see a fight
That's
break
the
out,
only game John knows that Alabama women's basketball has ever played that he remembers anything about. Was they got in a fight at Foster Auditorium against the Lady Hobbs.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, tomorrow,
Good stuff,
CJ
Gurn.
Duncan, Yellow Hammer News will join us tomorrow on the program. A lot of U.S. Open preview tomorrow as well. Probably talk a little bit more about the rough and things of that nature. But on the topic wheel today.
Yeah, excellent stuff with that. Many thanks to Bryan Matthews, auburnsports.com, Travis Reier on YouTube. Many thanks as well, Gurn Jr., our executive producer. For John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellow Hammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.